Tonight, we discuss if we like our men with or without helmets. We ask each other the age-old question, would we go back to the carpet store? Andy's not-so-epic return to Apex and not-so-outstanding Outer Worlds video game. Kurt Sauce swings us into the future with skyhooks, and of course a final word on the pinched turd that is a Prius.
Hi, I'm Josh, and you can't prove that I'm not three midgets in a trench coat.
I am Nick. If both of a woman's X chromosomes were activated, they'd be striped like cats.
My name is Andy. I have spoken.
And this is Russ. Welcome back to the Balcony Time Podcast.
So I wanted to get Andrew into Apex Legends, which means I'm getting back into Apex Legends. Mike is getting back into Apex Legends.
I assume you are no longer at the Apex.
I am not at the Apex, nor am I a legend. It's been a bad time.
You're one of the strata at the bottom of the pyramid.
I was never at the Apex.
Filter feeder.
Never once was I at the Apex at that game.
I wouldn't have considered myself at the Apex, but I would have considered myself competent.
I have reached my competency level in that game.
Yeah.
It is tier 4 diamond in the ranked season.
I would put myself at like ring-tailed lemur.
Good.
That's where I would fall on the
Astute.
spectrum.
Astute.
I'm slightly below that.
Yeah.
You don't
No,
have any rings.
we got on and it was a travesty. It was just dead all the time. Just dead. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, with Andrew, there's going to be a steep curve. He's never played any PC shooter heavily.
Or a Battle Royale.
Or a
At
Battle
all.
Royale. He hasn't been on PC in a long time.
Yeah.
Coming in late to the game.
Yep.
That's, I mean, at the end of the day, it is a shooter.
Yes.
You can have a base level of competency if you've been playing them for a while. But I think the only shooters he's really played in forever was
Consoles.
Console Halo.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
The analog sticks are a different game than keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget that we've been doing that for 30-something years, right?
well, Overwatch. He played Overwatch. That's right. We did play
Oh,
Overwatch for a
okay.
little bit
Yeah.
But on console.
on console still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really translate. I mean, I guess a little bit of it does, but not to your controls.
There's certain skills I think that are analogous with
Yeah.
Overwatch as far as like team positioning.
Mhm.
Well, it's the fact that your left hand on the keyboard is the left analog stick and your right hand on the mouse is the right analog stick.
It's not
right?
about controls at all. That's
Oh.
I wouldn't say that takes an entire different skill set, I think, to switch
Yeah.
over to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you have to relearn.
No, like what he was saying, team positioning, moving in and moving it. Like there are some things in Overwatch that are just going to be part of the game.
But he's got some bad habits when it comes to BRs, which is things like standing still. Things like crouching when you're firing. It's like, yeah, for some shooters that makes a lot of sense.
In real life.
Yeah,
Which is
right.
probably why he's
Sure,
doing it.
sure, yeah.
You notice when he's standing open in a field.
Well, he played a lot of America's Army and
Oh, yeah.
strategy based shooters. This is not that. So you don't crouch. You spend no time crouching because movement is pivotal in this game. So get your slide on.
Yeah, the only time you're really crouching is if you're trying to be quiet.
Yeah. Which in a couple instances he was. But also, like, if you go into the game kind of not knowing the character's abilities and stuff like that, like Caustic, when he lays down his capsules, the stink balls, trying to explain to him, shoot at the base of that when there are other containers about in the room. And I'm like, no, not that one. No, the other one. To your right. And he like skips it. I'm like, no. Okay, well, just don't move now. Just die. Take the L.
I apologize, Andrew, that you're not here to talk about yourself playing Apex.
Yeah.
I think, learning the inside baseball of any game, like anytime you sit down, like there's been times I wanted to learn Dota, and it's like, I gotta learn a whole new roster of these bitches.
What the fuck is a jungle?
Yeah, well, that's even, a side thing. But like, even like jumping into Apex, it's like, okay, I know what kind of game I'm getting into, but I gotta learn at least characters. And then there's always the first like couple hours of play where you're like, oh, I didn't know that did that. Now I know.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to you only got two options: either watch a bunch of YouTube videos on how the game works, or play and run your head into the wall for a couple hours until you get the basics down.
When I first started playing Apex, I didn't know that you had to kill people after they dropped.
Right.
Yeah.
Like once they're knocked down, I probably hit the first 15, 20 levels of that game before realizing I was getting no kills.
Yeah.
And
I remember getting angry, like, one kill? I shot like 7 people that round.
But that's part of the Battle Royale experience.
Yeah, it took me a while. The one I've been working on specifically is weird that it's not a skill that I have very ingrained, but it's not shooting without cover. Seems like a no-brainer, but I've been paying attention to my bad play a lot, and a lot of it comes down to the fact that I start a fight with another squad, and I'm like standing in the middle of a field.
Yeah,
you know, and because I'm thinking like I think it's from old games to where most of the time if I saw somebody first,
the time to kill was low.
I would typically win that fight, or my skill was high enough to where I would win most 1v1s.
Yeah,
when you're in the open, you start firing, the other 2 people on a 3-man squad turn and also just shoot you because you have no cover, and you die very quickly. So
you always have to remember it's never 1-on-1.
Yeah, so I've been trying to this whole weekend I've been practicing almost specifically to try to be more aggressive because the game rewards aggression.
Yes,
being fast, getting in, cleaning up, getting out, and then always making sure that I have cover when I'm engaging in fights, and it's helped. I've had some good games.
That's how I want to play. But new players don't really cater well to that.
Yeah. You definitely need to take him into the firing range. You could show him caustics, barrels, and stuff like that inside.
For sure. And once he told me that you can jump in there with a squad, that's a huge help.
Only took, game's been out 8 months, 9 months?
Something like that, yeah.
Finally. They put all the gear into the firing range, so I can actually go in there and try out all the equipment. And guns and all. It's not only Lifeline, because before you can only go in with one hero, one legend. Like, come on, guys.
Which was always just really bad.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said about them putting in any kind of tutorial.
Sure.
Some games don't.
Yeah.
But
I appreciate a good tutorial.
Yeah. And for a little tutorial island, it wasn't bad. But some of the decisions, like you don't take the selected character that you have on the menu screen into the game.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
but,
a little bit.
You know,
a little bit funky. But they also did script it so it was for Lifeline. Like it literally prompted you for your ult and stuff like that. So
I don't know how hard it would have been just to been like, here's the actual map. You can play as single player or in a squad. Nobody will join, and we've sectioned off like a small ring of it.
Yeah.
Like you can play in the airfield, and then like you can't leave it, but like you at least get this is what the boxes are. You can fight against your squad, like have it like friendly fire on, so you can show them how the different abilities work.
There's really no reason they don't give you just access to the map. If your game has one map,
I was going to say that, and then I was thinking about it, and I was like, that would give people the opportunity to look for
to learn the map.
Well, no, to look for glitches and exploits.
Yeah,
find
which
places
they'll do
where
anyways.
Right? Yeah, but they have to do it mid combat. So I mean, it would just exacerbate that issue. People finding rocks they could hide in and shit, like in Halo or.
I mean, all the better. The faster you find those, the faster they can fix them.
That's a good point.
And it's available to everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they've
take
made
that back then.
Pretty consistent efforts to
twanged
to prevent that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but I have a blast playing that game.
I do too. Even though we weren't doing well, it's a fun game.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I've realized is that a game like that has to have a fast turnaround to get back into another match.
Yeah,
because you just have some games where just boom right after another, you're just getting wiped early.
Yeah,
but you just all right, we'll just jump back in.
I'd rather wipe early than spend the first 10 minutes looting with silence and then die in our first encounter with another squad.
My largest experience from that is it'll be over quickly and you won't like it. So that's Apex in a nutshell for me.
But that's why I like hot dropping.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the game's getting through it fast is nice because when you have a bad drop and a shit game and you're a shit player like I am, then at least you get to get back in there in a few minutes.
Yeah, it only takes a couple of minutes to get back into a game.
Instead of waiting around 10, 15, that's pretty good. I enjoy that.
Definitely.
I don't think I've found a shooter experience I've enjoyed more than the hardcore
Modern Warfare.
Was it not Search and Destroy? What was the one life one?
That's just hardcore. Hardcore, you just
hardcore just meant like your time to kill was like one bullet. But you could do hardcore like TDM, where you would respawn in like 5 seconds. But there was some mode.
Kill confirmed?
No, that's the one the dog takes. Anyways, you had one life, and then you would have to wait for everyone to die, and then a new round would start. And the only downside of that is like sometimes you have to wait 5-10 minutes for a round to finish. But that hardcore style where it's like the entirety of the game happens 95% of it before you see an opponent.
Yeah.
Like by the time you're already seeing an opponent, they're seeing you, like it's already been decided who's won.
Mm-hmm.
So the gameplay there was mind games, distractions, being stealthy, predictions, knowing the map, knowing the spawning points, right? Listening to the cues. And then like by the time you actually get on the fight, you're like, I already know if I'm going to win or lose.
Yeah.
So
I do wish that the I don't know how to phrase this. Just the sound was a little bit better in Apex because it's so pivotal in figuring out like where a squad is and stuff like that.
yeah.
And I know they try to make it kind of realistic, like they're large valleys, they get echoey and stuff like that. But if I could pinpoint a little bit better where enemy fire is coming from, that'd be nice.
The sound sucks.
It does.
100%. It's been a problem since the game launched. They've made changes. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to say improvements. They've made changes to it. It can literally be a death sentence sometimes when the audio just doesn't work correctly.
Yeah.
Now, side note, but related, there was that technology, the software technology for headphones that came out a couple years ago, the 3D surround audio or whatever. Like, that was intense.
Yeah, Dolby headphone.
The Dolby headphone, whatever
Yeah.
it was. Is that?
That's in most things now.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say, it
is
just
it?
became kind of a standard build practice, be able to have your audio do that.
I don't notice it as much as I did in those examples, like in games nowadays.
Yeah, because the examples for the early games were like tech demos, so it was perfect, right? I don't think people are putting as much effort into their,
Yeah. Just
I
the
think their
fact that I
sound.
could tell the difference that like this sound is coming from not only behind me, but below me.
Yeah.
As opposed to behind me, but above me was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a good pair of headphones makes a lot of difference, because it always does.
Yep.
Having a good motherboard with good sound isolation is good, or having a sound card additionally makes things even better.
Minimum death crystals.
Yeah, you just want to
You gotta
minimize your
keep
death
that-
crystals
keep
with.
that level.
Well, I mean,
technology.
generally, you want the death crystals to a minimum.
Well, depends on whether you're a Morty or not.
If you're in the Shadowlands.
I would like to grind my gears for a second after I cough. Excuse me. So, I'm behind on anything that isn't tabletop games and video games, and I started watching The Boys,
Excellent
yeah.
show.
like 5 or 6 episodes in. It's great. I love it. It's like watching. We're getting to that stage of the genre where it's like, okay, we've explored the high fantasy, high fiction, young male audience, power fantasy stuff. What would it be like if superheroes were real?
Yeah.
That they have to deal with human problems, right? It's great. And the show, especially the first couple of episodes, were great. But then they get into things where like they'll have a fight with people with guns in a highly secure area. I'm trying not to do like spoilers. And then they have time to like stop and talk. And it's like,
Oh, of course.
I understand it's a TV show. There's a limit to how much they're going to put in. And then some of the decisions like the characters make and like the reason the plot is the way it is, it just starts getting contrived. And I think that's the difference for me between like movies and TV shows is it seems like contrived plot seems to be much more apparent in TV series than it does in like a movie. Because a movie is like a contained thing. They can kind of get away from that. They have the time, but I'm really liking the show, but it's like I wish someone would make a TV show and let a handful of like dungeon masters write the story, because it's like that's the kind of stuff that you have to learn not to do when running a tabletop game. And I see these things like clear as day.
Then you need to watch The Mandalorian.
You really think?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're
In one episode?
There's 2 episodes
there's
out.
2 episodes
yeah,
now.
Russ and I have watched the first 2. Josh
I've
has
only
watched
seen the first.
Without spoiling.
Spoilers for podcast listeners.
No, I'm not spoiling anything.
Okay, well.
Without spoiling anything, the show runs like an RPG.
Okay.
And it feels like something that formulaic would get boring.
Like a video game RPG or a tabletop RPG? Because they're different.
I'd say a little bit more video game RPG, probably.
It's just like a main character getting a crew together to do a big storyline plot thing. Kind of.
Yeah, you can definitely tell there's going to be some big storyline drops coming up just from the initial target. It's going to be good. But it's just like at the end of the day, it feels nice to watch Star Wars and just have it be good and not just like it because it's Star Wars.
Even
a good point.
Even outside of that, even outside of plot, we see really cool opening. Essentially, a quest is given.
Mm-hmm.
After the quest is completed, a reward is given. Another quest subsequently is given.
So this is an MMO.
Almost. Subsequently, another quest is given. You're given training to complete the quest, and you learn a new skill in order to complete it. You get to the quest, and you are partnered up with a new team member. You complete the quest, and effectively a reward is given.
Okay.
Or more, less of a reward and more of a side quest is started.
Suddenly, you find yourself in a
The real quest
freaking
begins.
follower quest.
Yeah.
I will have to watch it because I get the feeling that in your head that makes a lot of sense to me. That sounds like a terrible idea for a show.
It does. On paper, it sounds really bad.
Sounds like really bad.
In execution, it's been fan-fucking-tastic.
Okay.
I just want to talk about the cool things so much.
Yeah.
Talk about 'em.
Nick's complaint was that the boys was contrived.
There are
Which-
things in it where I have to be like, turn your brain off for like the 3 minutes this is going
Right,
to take,
right.
and then you get back to the good part.
Which
of the show.
essentially means stuff that isn't very realistic, like wouldn't happen naturally.
They've added or removed elements of the story to make the plot that they've developed thus far continue down a specified path. So they have to make shit up or remove things to keep the plot that they wanted to happen in the first place happen. So a good example, and this can technically be argued, spoilers if you haven't seen the show, there's this whole thing in the first handful of episodes of trying to get the American government to allow superheroes into the military.
Okay.
I cannot imagine in real life any scenario in which the military would not want superheroes in their military. That doesn't make any sense, because if superheroes are being born, as far as we know in the first handful of episodes, everywhere, that means other countries have superheroes. America is not going to let their army not have superheroes when other people have them. And that's like one of the major plot points in the first handful of episodes.
What I think at this point, though, while, yes, all superheroes are being born all over the place, they all seem to be within this megacorp of Vite or Voight, whatever.
As far as I was aware in the show, the superheroes were only born in America. They're only American superheroes.
They don't really point that out until like episode 5-6 when you start realizing where these superheroes are coming from. Right?
That was the whole point of the religious aspect of some characters and stuff, is this concept that America is obviously blessed by God because we're the only country that has superheroes.
I don't remember hearing anything about that. I mean, they haven't talked about other countries and superheroes, but until you know like where these superheroes are coming from, I don't remember them ever specifically saying that America's the only one that has them. Even still, if America had superheroes, the government would want like Superman in their army.
Not if Pfizer had control of him. like the private corporation isn't going to want their superhero
The government would
to
just like make him a better offer. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like if that's not how it would work in real life.
Well, that's it's not that they don't want superheroes in the military. They don't want superheroes owned by not the military in their military. Because all the superheroes that they're offering,
so then the
to join
American government offers them a better deal. That's what would happen.
Dude,
if that
the American
company
government
owns-
can't offer a better deal on fucking healthcare,
Okay.
let alone
Let me put it this way.
superpowers.
There's a
So-
superhero in that show that can read minds, and he's living in like a fucking 2-bedroom townhouse in the middle of nowhere. No, never. That guy could have any job he wanted if he wasn't abducted by the government to like read the minds of their enemies. It
That's
doesn't make
actually
any
accurate. I forgot.
sense
Yeah, that's a
that
good
a
point.
mind reader wouldn't be at the cream of the crop of whatever he wanted to do.
So,
Right?
but I get that they're saying that like
Yeah, but he has to touch you, and like he was famous. So why are you going to touch the mind reader guy who?
No, you use him as a weapon.
Well, you're going to throw him at people?
No, you capture people, imprison
and then
terrorists.
just make him touch them.
Yeah.
But it also hurts him. He doesn't want to do that.
Then you pay him a shit ton of money.
Not like physically.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to, though. That's the
fair,
whole point.
In the first episode we meet him, the only time I burst out laughing when I saw is, spoiler, Haley Joel Osment as a character. That was so great. As a washed-up 80s TV star actor, right? It was so good. But like the only time you see him in pain is when he's checking out the main character. Like when he's touching the people at the convention, he doesn't seem to like get hurt by it. But it was little things like that, and it's like the rest of it's great, but I don't know. There's no reason to go to a length to answer a question when you could have just had it happen in the first place. And I think the problem is you write this whole plot in advance, and then when it actually shows up on screen, and you have certain audience members like me see it, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's like, I just kind of got to go with it and pretend it's okay.
Well, I don't know. I could see them not being in the military because they're special. So normal people don't want. They're lucky that we let them live anyway. Is the whole idea.
I mean, that's the premise of a lot of X-Men.
Story
arcs.
My thinking: name a technology that's powerful and special that wasn't used for warfare. Right? You get superheroes, they're going to be in the military. And if they're not in the military in the public eye, they're going to be in the military privately. And the show could have touched on that, especially with the direction it's going, try to uncover this big secret. Right? So anyways, it was just things like that like it's an overarching kind of plot issue. But I don't know.
So but you are enjoying the show.
Yeah, those are minor moments I have to turn my brain off. Other than that, it's great. Right.
So you'd say those are kind of nitpicky things. Otherwise, the show is pretty good.
It's nothing I don't have to deal with like every other show I watch.
Okay.
So no, just the whole idea of having these superheroes having this human element to them.
Man, it's a wonder you guys can enjoy anything. Holy shit!
That's you know why I don't watch a lot of shows.
I enjoy a lot of things.
It's just because I'm an old curmudgeonly asshole.
I enjoy a lot of stuff, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with pointing out the things I think they could have done better.
Yeah.
I was talking to Adam the other day. I don't think I ever really engaged and satisfied in a video game unless I'm actually at the moment angry at it. I find the most games I play nowadays, if I'm not like 4 out of 10 frustrated, then I'm not enjoying it. It's so weird. I have to be like pissed about something, like why that's stupid. Okay, I don't know what it is. But if I find a game that is just like completely easy and relaxing, I don't have any issues with it, I just lose all interest in it.
Well, then you should play Outer Worlds.
I did. It was milk toast.
Yeah.
It was really good milk toast. High quality organic milk.
Good milk toast.
Whole grain toast. It just felt like playing Skyrim to me. I played enough Skyrim.
I think it was more boring than Skyrim or a Fallout game.
No, it's disappointing.
It's comparable. I wouldn't say it's more boring.
It's
literally the exact
I quit
same
faster than the Fallouts and the Skyrims.
Fallout,
maybe because it's another one.
I was excited for it. Space Fallout seemed to follow the Fallout trajectory game mode, how you fucking play it, unlike Fallout 76, which can eat my nuts.
It's a good space Fallout. It's just it runs fairly poorly on my Xbox.
I was playing on the PC.
Xbox, so frustrating. But I don't know. So to go back to what we're talking about, I don't know if that necessarily is a contrivance in The Boys. I get what you're saying. Obviously, it was very well explained. But my concern is that when something's contrived, it seems, I guess it kind of applies. It's something unrealistic is happening in the show that like kind of pulls you out of the fact that it's not as immersive as it could be if it was more realistic. But you go to Mandalorians, and I could argue that it's extremely contrived because you literally have a MMO style quest chain that's happening in the show, to where he does a thing, gets a reward, gets another quest, goes to do the other quest, all that stuff that Andy was talking about, which could seem very contrived. However, I think that when you've put that into the cloak of the fact that he's a fucking bounty hunter, that's his life.
Yeah.
His life is literally quests after quests, especially because he's also Mandalorian. So
it doesn't hurt that it's in a very beloved universe, and that it feels like they're treating the universe right.
Yeah, well, they obviously suck at telling long narratives, so yeah, let's have a bunch of little short narratives.
Yeah.
We got two definitions for contrived here pop up on Google. Deliberately created rather than arising naturally or spontaneously, or created or arranged in a way that seems artificial and unrealistic. I feel like those aren't exactly the same, but they're close, right?
Yeah.
So in the sense that it kind of follows a gamey thing, if that's the way it is from the start, that's the diegetic like universe you're in, is he's going to like level up as a bounty hunter, right? Then I don't really know if that's contrived, right? Because it's like we're fed that from
It's literally what
second
it's
one.
literally what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
want
I'm
to argue it's
agreeing with you
contrived,
there.
but because he's a bounty hunter, it's no longer as
It makes sense.
artificial. That's literally
Mhm.
what his life
They've
is.
got an in-universe reason why it's happening that way.
So
It also
can work.
feels like they are trying to get to a point. Like there's going to be an overarching story for this, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, we got Jon Favreau making it.
Yep. Which, yeah, I didn't know that before going into it. So when I saw him in the credits, I was like, sick.
Yeah, well, I mean, Favreau's gonna. After watching the first episode, Favreau got it right. It feels good.
Well, I mean, he was responsible for the first couple Iron Man movies, for the first, I think, 2 Spider-Man movies.
I think he did an Avengers in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Did
And I
he
mean,
do
he's
it in one of the
been in the Avengers.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau.
So he is a guy that's made stuff that we like already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he seems to do a pretty good job at it. Because he's done it more than once.
He made the Avengers.
Okay.
Last point I want to make on this because I just had an idea. I was thinking about
And
this when I was
Infinity
watching
War.
it. He made
Wait,
Infinity
sorry.
War.
This might be, he's an actor. I forgot
Oh.
about
Yeah,
that.
he's
Okay.
he's
Gotta
in.
break
he's in-
this down.
He's Happy Hogan.
I guess.
Have you all seen the Boys?
Yes.
No.
At least episode 1? Okay. So, like, a bad thing happens and your girlfriend dies to a superhero.
Mhm.
And an FBI agent shows up to have you help him try to, like, frame this guy. And you're distraught and you want to get back revenge with this guy, right? Now, you're a mild-mannered Radio Shack clerk or a whatever, right? And then it turns out like working for an FBI agent to fuck over these superheroes is really dangerous and sketchy. How long is it going to take you, episode-wise, to get over that? Right? Like for me, if I was in this main character's boots, I would pretty quickly realize that I'm dealing with dangerous people in deep shit, and I need to suck it up and deal with it. And this main character, all the way up until like episode 6, is still having moments where he's like, oh, that's so bad or dangerous. Oh no. And it's like, come on, get over it, right?
So he's just not to terms with the
Yeah,
the
it's
the
he's
gravity
grown
of
up
it.
in a bubble. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'd love to have a character, a little Mary Sue, if you would. It'd be just nice to have a show where a character just understands the stakes from like day one, right?
Yeah,
Is it really that hard to grasp that you're in this terrifying situation? You have your moment of catharsis and you're like, okay, I got to pull my fucking bootstraps on and just deal with this.
I would assume high stakes dealing with superheroes and supervillains, and I probably just wouldn't have been involved at all. I take it for what it was and be really pissed for the rest of my life at this bad guy.
But then you wouldn't have a show. I
Yeah.
think something that did it really, really, really well, and I love this scene, was Children of Men. I think where they couldn't have the babies.
Yeah.
And the main character, I forget, Clive
Owen.
He's been dealing with all this stress, right? And there's a scene where he's like, he gets on his own for just a minute and he just loses his shit and breaks down.
Mhm.
And he just loses it and he loses control and he breaks down crying and then he gets himself together and then the story continues. It's like, that's what happens in real life.
Yeah.
Like when you're in public and you're dealing in social situations, you have to keep your shit together. And then when you have a moment, sometimes you just need to lose it. And then you get your shit together and you continue on.
Box that shit.
I don't know.
back in.
I
I
love
through.
that scene so much in that movie.
I don't think I'm brave enough to do what he did. I'm being shot at by military and
Yeah.
tanks.
It was a great way to show that he was still kind of a normal dude.
Yeah.
He can still break. Stress
Yeah.
can still get to him. And he had the wherewithal to like at least hold it until he had a moment to just let go
Mhm.
and then get his shit together because he's a hero,
Yeah.
essentially, He's got to be able to continue for the story to continue because if you'd given up, the story would be over.
Right.
But it's nice to humanize a character like that.
For sure.
What was it? Yeah. Anyways.
That's why I watch Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still haven't seen El Camino.
It's good. I recommend it. I don't recommend it highly. It's not like must watch, but it is a good continuation of Breaking Bad.
Nice.
Do you recommend it lowly?
No, I recommend it
medium high
medium.
heat.
Yeah.
325 degrees.
No, I mean, if you liked Breaking Bad, you're very likely to like El Camino, right? I think it would honestly hold its own too, even if you weren't invested in Breaking Bad. Like you'd happen upon a few episodes, you kind of like the Jesse Pinkman character. You're like, yeah, I'll check out El Camino. I think it would hold up on its own.
Did you like Breaking Bad?
I did.
Yeah. El Camino's
You'll like
good.
it. I think the cinematography is a little bit different, but some of that is intentional.
Okay.
Also, didn't notice.
Oh.
I'm not as invested as he is.
Well, I've watched interviews with the creators and stuff where they're talking about how they run the camera completely differently for the different characters. So,
okay.
Yeah, so Jesse's always going to be like fairly close shots, mostly of the face, mostly while driving or mostly while occupied doing another activity. Really high tense stress scenes usually, oftentimes with music and camera shaking artificially. Whereas Walt is going to be a little bit more constructed, a little bit longer drawn out pan shots, single takes and that kind of thing, like fewer cuts.
Really
to Walt.
just to like accentuate the
difference in-
personalities
yeah.
between the characters. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's fucking brilliant.
They do that with all of the characters for the most part. Like they have these little differences, and they essentially they want continuity with the way they shoot every character. So that's something.
Well, I
neat
liked
that they do.
Breaking Bad. I never did check out Better Call Saul, which I feel is
That
a
one I
detriment
highly
to me.
recommend.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
highly recommend.
it's really good. It's different, right? But it's as good.
Speaking of differences, Jon Favreau, actor, director, producer, right?
Mhm.
Directed Iron Man 2.
Yep. I knew those
He
two for sure.
Is not directing Mandalore. He is Mandalorians. He is producing.
Okay.
Keep in mind that is a night and day difference between
Mhm.
somebody who produces a movie and directs a movie.
100%.
Because I don't feel like you get credit for really the quality of a movie if you're producing it.
I agree.
Because you didn't contribute to the actual construction of the film, like the shooting and stuff like that. You're not directing actors. You're not setting scenes. You handle finances and advertising.
If someone put a gun to my head and said, "What does the producer do?" I was like, "The things the director doesn't."
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what a producer does.
honestly,
It's
that's-
like everything else that is not directly related to shooting the film and directing the actors is probably under the purview of the producer.
Yeah.
Which, not saying the job's not important,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think that if like you make a really good film, who cares who the producer was? You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
So unfortunately, he doesn't. His only good track record is Iron Man 2. In my opinion, he did
I
some
don't know.
other
I feel like
questionable movies.
as a producer, you get some storyboard shit too.
Wouldn't
I
that
think,
be the
don't you?
storyboard artist?
Like, I mean, you get like story say as a producer, I believe.
I don't think you do.
I do think you do.
Like an executive, like an executive producer's like the second person they list in
Well,
like,
that's also because they're monetarily contributing oftentimes. Like an executive producer is more often than not somebody that is just contributing monetarily.
A film producer is a person who oversees film production. Thanks, Wikipedia.
So I guess they work together. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah,
They do coordination.
they get some creative control, and especially when you tie in somebody with as big of a name as Jon Favreau, like that. I mean, that's a household name at this point.
Okay.
Well,
I guess it's like an audio producer in a similar sense.
Yeah.
Select the script, coordinate writing, directing, editing efforts, arrange financing.
I think a lot of it has to do with name recognition too, because his name is recognized. They probably get more creative
It's a
control.
nice little boost.
Well, that's always why you get
Plus,
people like Steve Jackson and Quentin Tarantino who produce things.
Yeah.
Plus, he is working in house of Mouse now. So, I mean, most of his stuff doing with the Marvel Studios. I mean,
Well, now I'm curious who's actually directing Mandalorian.
Producer is just the choice maker.
I imagine it'll differ show on
the
show,
choice
right?
maker
Sometimes
for the show
shows
itself.
have different directors for each show, each episode.
Yeah. I mean, Black Mirror has a different director for every episode.
Well, like I mean, a lot of the Game of Thrones had different directors per
Don't remind me.
episodes.
I had not thought about that show for a while. You ruined it.
Sorry.
Like a week-long streak.
Do 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 do.
The board that killed Bobby B killed more important people than the fucking Night Lord did.
Yeah.
Night Lord
That's-
did.
Jon Favreau is listed as the creator
Oh, okay.
of Mandalorians.
Oh shit. Created by.
Well, this may be his best work yet.
I'm going to push up my glasses and say, no, that's actually George Lucas.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Dude,
So,
that guy is like 40% neck. You can't trust that.
And 60% money.
Wow.
Star Wars New Hope has yet another reshoot of the Han scene in it on Disney Plus.
I
Really?
tried watching
Yes, it's
it
the
and
third
wrapping
one.
my head around it, and it's like Greedo gets in like 2 more alien words is like some kind of insult with no subtitles from what I could tell, unless I just missed them.
Pretty sure it's fuck your mother in Rhodian.
That's what I've been hearing, but I keep watching scenes on YouTube and there's no subtitles. So he insults Han, which I guess gives Han the moral right to shoot first. I'm still trying to wrap my head around why they changed it, or even
Yeah, it's
what
just
the
like
change
let
is.
Han shoot first.
Yeah.
Let him shoot first, damn it. Just let him shoot first.
Because George Lucas in his old age forgot what the fucking an anti-hero is and why Han Solo was cool when we saw him. 'Cause
Yeah.
he wasn't the fucking naive, virginal farm boy hero. He was a dark, seedy, hit on this girl and shoot
Yeah.
people
Mhm.
hero.
Knew what he was about hero.
My
Yeah.
question is, did Disney change anything else of this
Disney?
show? Yeah, this is the new Disney Plus cut of
Yeah, but
Star Wars.
when
They made
Disney
a
bought
new
the
Greedo Han
movies,
scene.
when Disney bought
That's
the
what we're talking
movies, George Lucas got a few more last little minute, whoop-de-doos and
Some tweaks.
some tweaks and all that shit in there,
Wait, I'm behind. You're saying that Disney
There's
edited even
a
further.
third new scene of the Greedo Han standoff.
So,
In the
because the
Disney
original
Plus.
Han shoots for just blows Greedo's head off because,
Chomp each
Han.
day. Yeah.
and then, they redid it to where Greedo shot first but missed, and then Han just, shot him in the head.
Yeah.
Now there's another reworked one where Han shoots first, but after Greedo gets him with a salty remark, and then, hit Greedo's gun goes off too.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, right. Like why it's unnecessary.
So the new scene, Greedo now also says something before he and Han both fire off blaster shots. What he says is unsubtitled, but many viewers say it sounds like a delectable nonsense word, McClunky. Disney told Vox that George Lucas himself edited the scene.
George Lucas.
That's his name now, George. Prior to her change by
Keep him
Lucas.
the fuck
Yeah.
away from Star Wars.
right?
Why did they added in 2 Greedo noises with no subtitles? Why?
They're actually just George Lucas noises. Hey, glurkin.
McClurky.
Glurky.
That's what I call my money pit. Jump into it.
Well, McGlurkley, are you ready for a break?
All right,
George.
yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and take a break.
Sad.
If you're hearing this, that means you've taken some time out of your day to listen to the Balcony Time podcast. So we'd like to take some time out of the Balcony Time podcast to thank you for listening. As always, if you like what you're hearing, hate what you're hearing, or think what you're hearing is meh, we'd like to hear about it. Leave us a post on Facebook at facebook.com/balconytimepodcast, or send us a tweet to @balconytimepc. Also, be sure to rate, review, rave, and rant about the Balcony Time podcast on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. Now, back out to the balcony.
Sorry.
That wasn't 5 seconds.
I don't
No,
even know who ruined that.
Yeah,
one.
that was me. That was,
okay.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
It wasn't me.
You were like gasping for air, and I just started in the middle of that.
Let's talk about Roy.
Well, so Rick and Morty season 4, I believe,
Yes.
has started fantastically, and I wanted to. Josh had never seen the Blitz and Chips episode. They have the game Roy, and I was just curious if anyone. I was gonna ask the question to the guys: would you play the game Roy, which essentially allows you to live an entirely second life in an instant?
Yes.
And I feel like as a gap, I think we would all do that. I know
Yeah.
you guys pretty well.
Immediately, yeah, we talked about the fact that you get to experience a whole life and mature and grow and all that stuff. But then I had the thought, it could just be me. I don't remember shit from my early childhood. I remember a handful of things from my teenagehood, and even my 20s are sketchy. If I had to live an entire life as a different person and then come back to my original life, I wouldn't know who the hell what the hell, why, or even when.
Yeah, that's
And you would have
very
forgotten
true.
so much because you've gone through, I mean, assuming you get to like 50, 60 years, and then you have to remember what happened 60 years ago. You're going to know who your wife is or your girlfriend or your job.
And that's why you'll never
But-
get the high score on Roy.
If you're going for high score, I feel like you're not going to make it very far. It's going to be like a 1-year endeavor.
Say you eventually, like, all the memories of being Roy go away and disappear. Would it still, I think it'd still be, I mean, I guess if you, that's kind of a philosophical question.
Well,
if you don't,
you'd be given the option to live out a life with no rules. So, of course, it'd be fun. It'd be worth it and satisfying.
but would it if you never remember it? That'd be the question.
Well, I'm not going to remember the games like. If I played a game today for a couple hours, I'm not going to remember it when I'm 80, but I still enjoyed it now, right?
That's a fair point.
Well, I mean, that's we have to just establish what level you forget the experience.
Mhm.
So, like, if there is anything remaining, like if you've actually experienced that whole thing, then obviously you'd have an entire lifetime's worth of memories in your head. You come back to reality, you would probably have a psychotic break.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, you'd have a psychotic break from
Yeah.
that because it would.
you need some therapy.
That's why you have the cool down pool at Blitz and Chits.
The cool. Yeah, just a recovery.
You would need to, like,
You have to go play with the plumbus for a few minutes, and
the plumbus might fix it,
and
just,
it's
that's what it's
everything.
for.
Yeah.
It gets you right.
You know,
Spin on it and go.
games somehow allowed you to like only remember choice bits from your experience and not let you lose your entirety of yourself. It'd make for maybe a satisfying, fun game to play. But yeah, if you had to live out 60, 70, 80, 100 years of some other person's life and then come back to your own,
Yeah,
it'd be crazy.
I'd remember a lot of it though.
Well,
And
the
I'd
worst
want
thing
to.
is because you're playing the game as Roy. So I guess that'd be the difference. That was Morty's first time playing Roy. He didn't know what was going on, so he was immediately
No one
enveloped
told him
by-
what was gonna happen.
by the VR. So he thought that VR experience was real. Whereas, like, when Rick goes in, Rick knows it's a video game,
Yeah.
and that'd be the biggest difference. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you go in with
You got to know.
the real knowledge that this is a video game and you have control over what's going on, it'd be an entirely different experience. You wouldn't have the mental ramifications of living out
Yeah.
that entire life if you knew.
Unless that entire life was just so much better than your own, and you're like, this is going to end. Like, fuck, this is gonna end.
It depends. It'd be so weird to have like a modern day game, and you know that when booting it up, you're going to be in it for 60 years, right? Unless you
That's
died.
nuts.
That's insane to think about. You know, that's a commitment.
Yeah,
But it's weird you can do it in like 2 minutes
Yeah,
on a weekend. You're like, oh. I mean, why would you ever leave a machine like that? Wouldn't you just live infinite lives over and over again?
yeah, you
mean,
could.
that's kind of pretty standard trope in sci-fi. Like once you get virtual reality, what was it? Wall-E, was it, or was it Wall-E?
There's
No,
VR and Wall-E.
Well,
What
they
was I
had those
thinking of?
floating toilet chairs that just like screened
That's just-
shit right into your face or whatever, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I was thinking
they had a hat suit chair.
The 80s.
Ready Player One.
Yeah,
Just-
that idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I read Ready Player One, I was like, yeah, I would matrix myself into this machine and never go back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
instantaneously.
I mean, people manage to find, even me, escapes in games and books and movies all the time. And the sheer amount we do already, even though it's not VR, means that VR is going to be dangerous, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because everybody's going to be Roy.
Yeah.
I just want to be Roy all the days.
Second question I'd have is, so with the Mandalorians, or Mandalorian, I don't know, is it plural?
I think it's singular.
Mandaloo.
Or Mando.
Let's call it Mando. Because there's more than one Mandalorian.
Planet's Mandalore.
Yes.
So, yeah.
You would be a Mandalorian if you were from Mandalore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I get that. I just wasn't sure if the actual title of the show was,
Yeah.
was plural.
We're
or
not trying to
not.
make sense of plurality here.
Oh, well, I mean, you know.
I think that was my fault.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Mandalons. So, do you want him to remove his helmet?
Yes and no. Like immediately, my first thought was, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Because in my head, he sounded kind of like Michael Rooker for a second there. You know.
First of all, I know who. Like, it's pretty
okay.
common knowledge who the actor
I don't.
is.
I don't see. I don't know that. But it was in both. I was like, yeah, I want to see this dude's face. But at the end, I was like, I'm glad I haven't seen his face yet.
Same.
It's weird.
But okay, so one, I can tell you who it is if you want me to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, it's I don't remember the guy's actor's name, but he's the Viper of Dorne. Oberyn Martell.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think is fantastic. Like, he's not crazily plastered all over the place in every movie that we watch, and I think I liked his character in Game of Thrones. So
Yeah.
he was not around enough.
No, not at all. I mean, or just in general, the actor who played him or the character from the books just wasn't around long enough.
Yeah. But it poses to me like a Master Chief Halo situation. Of
Word.
Personally, I think that you can do a lot better character development sans helmet. And I would like them to just, like, they got away from the fact that he spoke really early in the episode. Same thing, I'd like to see him remove his helmet early.
In the show?
In the show. Yeah. Just get it out of the way and be like, no, this is not Boba Fett. We want to establish it's not Boba Fett.
I feel like they've kind of already, I feel like it's pretty clear it's not Boba Fett.
No, I know, but I mean, like, everyone's going into this with the feeling.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah.
He's a Mandalorian bounty hunter. I mean,
he has the armor and the helmet, yeah.
So take the helmet off. Let's get some character development behind the mask so we can get attached to this character.
Now,
go ahead.
I agree, but speaking of the man, I thought a cool thing they're doing, some of the things that they're questing for is that metal.
The Beskar steel.
Yeah.
Beskar steel to make it's like, I feel like a pauldron is suitable for what you've done. So like you earn chunks of armor from this blaster-proof steel as you're going, and I thought that was really
after
cool.
break. We're going spoilers now.
Sure, yeah, okay.
Josh talked
So
about
we
the
are
episode.
we're gonna go into spoiler territory here. I'll throw my voice in to let you know when it ends. This is the official warning for spoilers. I'll give you guys another few seconds to skip to 56 minutes and 43 seconds. Again, that's 56 minutes and 43 seconds.
I want to point out something about character development. I agree. It is a million times easier to develop character if you can see somebody's face.
Yeah.
You get all the expressions, the human recognition of the face, all that. But then I sat there and thought, Master Chief, Samus, Darth Vader, right? The list goes on. If you have the potential and the time and the good writing, really duration, the fact that like Master Chief had so many games, the fact that Darth Vader had 3 movies before we saw his face, you can develop characters that are good even if you don't see their face. It's just a lot harder.
I would definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't develop a character.
I was just in that veins. I wanted to point that out because
there are good examples.
Not yet having seen the show, it'd be interesting to see what the show would be like if he never did show his face. Because I was thinking, like, actor-wise, on a real-life pragmatic level, I can't see an actor being okay never getting to show his face if he wants to, like, make a lot of money and get recognition and potential future roles. It's really rare that good name actors want their face to not be in the show.
Yeah.
So. I just think it's so, like, in the Star Wars universe specifically, it seems like that's a trope that they like to keep bringing back. Obviously the big one with Darth Vader was huge because you never saw Darth Vader until the very end of the third movie.
Yeah. Even then it was just
with my own eyes.
Yeah, it wasn't like this huge revelation thing. It was just like more of a vulnerability thing.
I think in the context of the time, it's definitely a big revelation. You finally get to see Vader's face, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't like seeing his face and be like, oh,
that's
what
sister.
it looks like. Yeah, it's just like, this is an old damaged man that kind of looks like an egg.
And it wasn't James Earl Jones.
Yeah,
but I mean, they also did it like with some like Boba Fett, who obviously was a background character of the show.
Yeah.
You have, I guess they didn't do it with Jango and Boba in the prequels.
They did it with Phasma.
Don't.
I think a better, just to point out how much they love their masks, is when Leia donned that bounty hunter's mask in Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
This badass that comes in with a thermal detonator into Jabba's, right?
Yeah, no, I think that for me, there's probably a good amount of time to keep him masked, but inevitably I will want to see him acting sans mask.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that they don't drag it out for too long, but that is purely a personal preference because they've obviously shown that you can have masked characters be really intriguing and fun to follow. I think Kylo took his mask off way too quick.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to be kind of a show, if you had to pick between A or B, where in a dramatic moment he takes his mask off to climax a scene, or it gets knocked off in some action scene at a dramatically appropriate moment?
B.
So it's weird because at some point during this episode 1 or 2, somebody makes a comment, because the Mandalorians obviously are notorious. Even in the Galaxy Stars, people have heard of the planet Mandalore and the Mandalorians and stuff. So they have a mythos built up around them to the point where somebody who like runs into them is like, "Oh, right, I heard you guys never take your helmets off, right?" Or some make some comment about that. I'm like, "Fuck, I hope that's not actual Mandalorian lore." And I don't know enough about what they've done with the new canon to know if it is or not, because they've expanded a lot.
Now I have seen some of the Clone Wars stuff and whatnot. So like the Death Watch guys, which is like a terrorist group in the Clone Wars, because Mandalorians on the planet of Mandalore are pacifists.
Well, they're in a civil war,
right? Yeah, and so there's the pacifist group, and then there's the other group.
They want to go back to their
warrior roots.
Yeah, their Mongolian roots of
pillaging,
planets,
conquest, burn and pillage, right, across the stars. So the Black Watch or the Night Watch guys, they all have
what
that
did I
Mandalorian
tell you about bringing up Game of Thrones. It's the second time in one night.
I can't remember.
He is the Viper of Dorne.
Viper of Dorne, yep.
Oh, but they all have those iconic Mandalorian style helmets,
right?
And most of them, other than the leader of them, he's the only one that's ever unmasked. So, I mean,
I'll have to I won't do it now for the show, but I'm gonna deep dive and get some more info on the Mandos.
I remember there being Mandalorians in KOTOR that didn't have masks on. Again, that's video game extended universe.
Well, that was the video game extended universe that also takes place almost around 1,000 years before our current
prequels.
They were still Mandalorians. They were known for being the Spartans of the galaxy.
That's because Exar Kun, like in the Mandalorian War, Exar Kun riled them up and made a bid for the galaxy.
There's so much Star Wars lore out there.
There's so much Star Wars lore out there,
but. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to. Plus, I know, knowing who the actor is, I'm like, the guy can act. Let's get him unmasked. But the fucking Beskar still. So that's what we were talking about before, like the quest chain. He literally, the first episode, he completes a quest, which is to collect some bounties. He had to collect several, brings them all back. As a reward, he gets a piece of this Beskar steel, which through the context of the show, we find out has some sort of almost religious significance to the Mandalorians themselves. Like it all used to be theirs, like all Beskar steel or something like that. And there's like a side quest for all Mandalorians to recollect all Beskar steel and return it to the clan. Okay. So he gets a piece of it, brings it back. And his leader is in there on a fucking space forge. She's just in there just fucking... First of all, female Mando, awesome.
Yeah,
yay!
And she's just working some stuff with the forge. She brings it in, hands it to her, and she's like, "I think a pauldron would be good." So he gets an armor upgrade. Literally, they replace his pauldron with a new Beskar steel pauldron, and I'm like, "This is literally a fucking." He just leveled up. He got, and like I said, a little bit later in the show, he learns like a new skill. That he unlocked.
Sorry to give that away, guys.
It's the spoiler section.
Yeah, we're talking spoilers now.
Yeah.
What D&D level is the main character in the first episode?
Level 5.
5 was probably 5, 6 is probably what I'd say.
Yeah.
I would have guessed like 8 or 9, having not seen the show.
He doesn't handily win every combat.
Yeah.
Like it's not every fight he goes into, he doesn't just fucking whoop ass.
Every fight's a fight.
He's proved. But he's not.
That first one's really not. He's going up against some first level randos in that one.
Yeah, it's a bar fight.
But
and he's going to win a bar fight. He's level 5.
He's going to win a bar fight.
Right.
One of my favorite interviews ever is with Vin Diesel and some schmuck from like Entertainment Tonight. He like brings up, "I heard he used to play D&D," and he starts talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, I know what character." He shows him his like tattoo of his character's name and whatnot. And the interviewer, stupidly, without apparently any knowledge of D&D, says, like, "Let's have a little role play. So you're up on a hill and it's foggy and you look down the valley and there's 3 orcs down there. What do you do?" And he's like, well, what am I, like a fighter?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, sure." "Well, what level am I?" It's like, and this is first edition, which goes up to like 9th level. He's like, "You're level 5. And he's like, "Well, I go down there and I kill them." It's like, clearly you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Pretty funny.
So we need a clear defined end on spoiler territory. Do we get it all off our chests that we wanted to talk about, or is there more?
I'm good.
Let me think about that. Oh no, so I want to talk about the Beskar Steel stuff. So
Yeah.
because this ties into fucking Captain Phasma. So obviously Captain Phasma did not pan out to be a legitimate character yet. They marketed her as a toy. Apparently she was added fairly late in production from what I remember reading.
And a total waste of Gwendolyn Christie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn
A
Christie.
total waste.
Brienne of Tarth playing a character I was
her?
really... Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's why I was really excited about the Captain Phasma character. Plus, of course, really cool armor. So I've talked to you guys about how I find out the fact through reading the Captain Phasma book, which chronicles her rise to become Captain Phasma. And I come to find out that her armor is just made out of a material they call chromium.
Yeah, it's what coats all the Nabooian.
No. Not all Nabooian craft. Specifically, it's the plating on Emperor Palpatine's personal shuttle from Naboo.
Okay.
But there's nothing remarkable about this shit.
I was gonna make it
Other than it
quip
looks cool.
that she just is a chromed fucking stormtrooper.
Yeah, chromium is
Yeah.
chrome. They named it chromium. You could look at the Wikipedia. There's like no special features of it.
Yeah, it's no unobtainium.
Yeah, it doesn't reflect blaster bolts or anything like that. So like, it angers me that they probably don't have as much stuff planned out in the Star Wars series they do, because you come up, it's so easy. They hit it right on the head with Mandalorians. Beskar
Yeah.
Steel. It's obviously a superior metal. I'm fairly certain that it has special
clearly
qualities.
has cultural significance.
Something
Mhm.
cool, and it's not
Yeah.
a renamed chrome, you know? So
Yeah.
like they could have been like Captain Phasma's decked out head to toe in Beskar Steel.
Yeah.
And then you can have her as a character that runs into the problem with like the Mandalorians are like hunting her, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because she's covered head to toe in their religious metal, you know, and they're trying to recover that
Yeah.
shit. And maybe she's Captain Phasma because she's still alive, even though the Mandalorians, you know,
Well,
send
that
people.
sounds really cool and good, so it obviously can't be a Star Wars
Yeah.
movie.
My bad. I only thought of that up like the top of my head.
Yep.
Just like, oh, Beskar Steel, let's roll with this.
But where are the dewback lizards?
Those little monkey creatures, they're going to save the day and defeat the Empire.
I wish I had the money to do a crowdfunded TV series where I start off with like, you go to a website, you go to an app, you submit your idea. We ask you like, what's this? Tell me about the main character. Tell me about the plot. And before you get to write yours, you have to rate 10 others, right? And you spend like a month just culling it down to a list of like 10,000 submissions. And then those 10,000 people get to write more, but they don't get to write more until they vote on the other ones, right? And you just get general people to write a storyline for a show until you narrow it down to like 5 people or 3, write some odd number.
You know what
I don't
happens?
And
You end
then-
up as we descend onto Planet McPlanet Face, and our hero McHero Face goes to fight the evil McEvil
True,
guy.
but I promise you it's going to be enjoyable, right?
You let the internet
Yeah.
start picking things for it. No,
Yeah.
that would be a fun idea.
Are we done with spoilers?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because
What's the time-
I
what's
got to
the
come up with a
timestamp?
timestamp. It's going to change after the edit, so don't
Okay,
worry about
yeah.
it.
Not worrying about the timestamp. Okay.
All right.
Let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic.
Sonic.
Oh.
That's actually a really good topic.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because I'm happy.
It's rare
about
that
the
you hear that
situation.
sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 180.
Y'all seen the redesign?
Yeah,
Yeah.
saw the trailer.
Mhm.
hmm
Looks good.
I'm gonna
It
watch
does.
it.
I feel like we need to reward
Yeah,
them
gonna vote
by
with my wallet.
going to see this movie and saying, "Hey, thank you for listening."
Yeah,
and
I'm 100%
fixing.
on board. I will go watch this in the theater.
Sure.
Specifically, I honestly had zero interest in seeing any Sonic movie ever. He's not a character I'm particularly attached to. I don't think he makes a good movie narrative because he's a
Yeah.
hedgehog that runs fast and collects
Mhm.
rings. But now that they've done this, I'm like, okay, you guys listened, realized you'd fucked up, apologized for fucking up, and then you went and fucking knocked it out of the park fixing it.
So that deserves to be recognized and rewarded.
Yep.
I do want to point out how much it disheartens me that it's deserving a reward for that fact. The fact that we've sunk so low that they had to take the time to bring it back up to some like baseline standard of what is deemed acceptable. Therefore, they deserve like a reward. But I'm,
You're rewarding the fact that they listened.
Yeah, they
because
listened
there's
and
so
then
many-
they applied the work.
Almost
There's so
no
many-
other movie in the
yeah.
history would have been like shown a trailer. Everyone said that looks
Yeah.
like garbage, and then go back and like, oh wait, we should rethink what we're doing.
going
I agree with
back
you
to the
there.
drawing board.
It just baffles me how we got to this point where they made Sonic look like the way he does. Like who
That's almost every video game movie.
That's
every
what
video
I'm saying.
is
They're
hot
just
trash.
shit. They're always bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The big one is how do they get people having Jim Carrey come on board?
Yeah.
Does
He owed somebody a favor.
That's what you always assume is that they're doing a studio movie because they're required to, and the studio needs to make it. Otherwise, they're going to lose the rights.
Yeah,
Just Sonic the fucking Hedgehog.
I feel like Jim Carrey doesn't really owe a studio a favor, and even if he did, the Jim Carrey I've seen out of the last couple of years would be like, yeah, fuck yourself. I'm going to make a painting about you fucking yourself. And then I'm going to write a poem about my painting about you fucking yourself.
He may have really just thought that it was a fun character.
That was
to
a lot of
play.
F-bombs. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's established now to where he doesn't want to do anything dark at all. So him playing goofy cartoon characters, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure.
Plus Robotnik. I mean,
It's gonna be fun.
that's going to be fun. Like, I feel like he can nail that.
I would have preferred like a big fat ginge or something,
Yeah.
just for accuracy's sake.
TJ Miller.
Oh.
Danny DeVito. Just
Oh my god! So I was reading online and someone's like, I was really hoping that when they came back with the revamp of the Sonic movie, Sonic was just Danny DeVito.
In like a blue.
Just so anyway,
spandex.
Sonic shows up when I started blasting.
Oh, dude, he's got to be Robotnik. Would you like a Dr. Higgman in these trying times?
No, because then he just gets stuck in children's playground equipment.
So he plays all the characters.
Yeah.
There you go.
Totally.
Yep.
A little
We have a clump situation.
Yep.
blue Danny DeVito running.
Just put him in different spandex. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. That would be pretty fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, man, Danny DeVito, if he nailed the Penguin, I feel like he can nail Sonic. You know.
I think the Penguin was just like Danny DeVito, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if he nailed. Like, I love Danny DeVito's Penguin, but he's not my favorite representation of the Penguin.
I feel like anytime Tim Burton gives Danny DeVito a call, he just dusts off that 1.5 foot tall top hat and is like, "All right, we're going to work."
Where are my fish?
Like I said, I love Danny DeVito's Penguin. I think I go more comic book, like modern day comic books and stuff, where Cobblepot is, he's Penguin-esque in the fact that he's got like a sharp nose, but otherwise he's like just a rich villain with fucking
I'm a
psychotic
capitalist, see?
How great of a character can you make when you're like, okay, so take a penguin. So you're starting with that, and it's like, okay, we're
call it
limiting
the
our
Penguin.
scope here.
Yeah. Like, let's take one of the least mobile birds.
So, penguin, research at work, there are a couple potential sources for where the word penguin comes from. And one of them
Penguin?
is from...
They're all from
this
Benedict
Latin
Cumberbatch.
word that's essentially penguin, right? Penguin. And it just means fatty. So, like, there's a chance we called penguins just because these little fat-ass birds.
This fat bird waddling around.
The other one was like
Can't
some
even fly.
boring Welsh whitehead nonsense, but I was like, no. Because penguid is a word in the dictionary that means fat or fatty. So you call someone penguid if you're mean.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Fucking birds.
You penguin fuck.
So I do want to give a shout out, let everyone know, sad day, mourning 2 lost pets this last week. So Tango, at the ripe age of 17 and a half, has passed away.
For
Anymore is
fun
lost.
fact, that is 109 in fucking dog years.
He's a
so-
small breed, so it's actually closer to like 80.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They okay. That's
Yeah,
fun.
small
not
dogs
7
will live
years?
longer, so they change like the ratio
okay.
of dog to human years for that.
So he still had a long, rich life in dog years.
He did,
Oh,
yeah. Sharon owned him for I think 8, and I think I had for 4 of that 8. So, and then Andrew, who's not here with us tonight, lost his cat Gracie as well. Also,
I had her a while.
yes,
Yeah.
he did. Yep.
It's a childhood cat, I think.
No, I don't know if it was
Oh
that
no,
long,
no.
but
He bought Gracie
yeah, she was an old cat when
he
he
lived
got her.
in Portland area.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Pretty sure
Made
he
the move back down with him, but
adopted her, I think, from the shelter.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I had the honor of giving her her final rest out where I work. So
You buried her out the vortex.
Yep.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah,
I'm making.
that's how you get ghost cats.
Yeah.
I'm making my own pet cemetery.
That's how you get
Can
ghost
you at
animals,
least
man.
spell it right?
I absolutely spelled it correctly because that's how you prevent
I
the
found out,
actions of
like
pet
4 or 5
cemetery.
months ago that it's spelled like
Yeah.
with a couple extra chromosomes. I don't know who decided that. It drove me crazy because Google kept auto correcting it. It's like, no, why are you? What is happening?
Isn't there a secondary, like, isn't the word that they actually spell it with the S is like an actual word for
I'm pretty sure that is a.
something
yeah.
insidious?
Okay, well that I would find that more acceptable. I just thought it was like a spider with a Y situation. And
Well, I mean, that's why all the animals.
Dude, pull that one out of your ass, man. That spider with a Y is like 15 years old.
it bothers me. It said it's seed.
but spelled with a Y.
Yeah,
Gross.
I do like Kyle with a Q though. Adam pulled that one out of his ass one day. It's like, what, instead of the K, he's like, sure.
Yeah, that's where it probably should be.
It's just weird that all the letters behind Q in the word Q are just waiting there quietly.
Mm-hmm. They're just going,
More dad jokes.
Yeah, well, you know, I got a few. Surprisingly, no children though. That's how you can laugh at dad jokes instead of just cry.
Yeah.
Is you don't have kids, so you get to be happy and spend your money on you.
Yeah.
Yay!
Okay, that is not a word.
Okay.
Feel justified.
What was the word?
Cemetery,
Oh.
the wrong spelling of cemetery. It's this article from Merriam-Webster is talking about how he did it intentionally as a use of realism and the fact that a young child who probably phonetically sounded out cemetery made the sign. So
Okay.
Isn't it like cemetery?
Yeah.
S or something.
Sematary.
Yeah, it's that second A, man. God. Ugh.
Makes me shit.
It's like open up your car door and there's a swarm of bees inside of it.
That
Not
happens.
going to go driving that day.
It happens.
For some reason, bees love to build or wasps love to build nests.
Paper wasps.
Yeah, behind my
specifically.
fucking side mirrors.
Yeah.
In every car I've ever owned, I've had wasps.
Oh,
It's because you're so sweet.
I guess.
They want to be in your nooks and crannies.
They get there. That's usually what happens.
I fucking hate those fuckers.
Yeah.
I
They're
deal
not
with them every
actively
year.
that aggressive, at least paper wasps, but their stings hurt. Really
I don't know
bad.
what you mean by like actively aggressive.
Like compared to like bald-faced hornets or something like that, they won't like.
it depends
come out
on
of
what
blue
part
and
of the
chase you
season.
down.
I was reading about this, so and I'll notice this because working outside in the woods. During the later part of the year before they go into their final nesting stage, so like in August, they are more aggressive than they are in say June.
So a lot of them die off. They don't have to feed as many.
Yeah, so as they start, so like that first initial thing is, oh, there's plenty of time. The weather's good. We're gathering resources, and then
All
like,
hands on deck.
All hands on deck. It's like now we're taking resources.
Now it's only the chosen.
I'm gonna take the flesh right off your arm.
Fucking battle royale of bees. Only 10 of you make it back to the nest tonight. Go. Now, I guess I'm always near their actual nests. And anytime you go near their actual nests, you have to define aggression. To me, it's like if I go near their nest and they all start coming out and flying around, that's aggression to me. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're stopped what they're doing
And
to
buzz your
fucking
tower.
look for me and irritate
Yeah.
me. And I'm like, oh. And then if you kill one, then it's like game on for them.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly, I remember, for example, working at this tourist trap we're talking about, like they'd fly up in your face and I'd just like pull my head back or back up a step and they'd fly off. Whereas like when you get to like hornets and some other wasps, if they're going to get that close to you in the first place, they're going to keep buzzing around you and like trying to sting you. I mean, you compare it to like bees, which like pretty much will not bother you at all unless you're actively
Oh,
fucking
hey,
with
how's
them.
it going there?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna bump into you.
Yeah, they
once
bump into
and-
you like
full on
dipshits.
slap one, and he's just like, "Oh fuck, I guess I'm leaving."
Whoops, my bad, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go over here. Yeah,
Just bumble his way on.
I think the most irritating aspect about it is the fact that they will just find every nook and cranny. And
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, I'm just doing a thing," and all of a sudden, bees or wasps.
Be kind to bees, yeah.
Yeah,
Be kind to bees.
They don't deserve
asshole
that.
bees.
Parasitoids. It's a terrible word for a terrible creature.
Yeah, fuck all of them.
The worst experience I've had with wasps was in that Chevy Love. they've nested inside that Chevy LUV for probably months, and
So
then
they had a
one
love
day
nest.
decided to fucking come out because like I'm literally driving down Crater Lake Avenue, and I'm at a stoplight, and suddenly a swarm of these fucking wasps comes out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere. It comes out of where this like CD player should be in this thing.
You got Oprah'd.
You get a wasp.
I get that reference.
You get bees.
That's one of my favorite gifts.
That is.
Yeah,
It's a really
it's a good one.
Yeah. Do you guys see the? I love giving shout outs to the Kyrgyzstan. They just did one on Skyhooks. Did you see it?
No.
Did you see
Oh,
it?
no. I haven't.
I'm all horny for Skyhooks.
It's in
now.
my queue. Yeah.
I'll have to give it a check out. I love the Ant Wars. The Ant Wars were incredible.
But the thing is, like, I don't know. All the years that we've been talking about space elevators in our group, because we love space elevators.
I mean, who doesn't?
I've never heard of a Skyhook before. And
Is that like the thing Batman flew out of? on
That's called a vagina.
yeah.
You would explain Skyhook, Russ?
Yes. So, and I'll draw a little picture for you guys. Imagine you have a central point, and then you have a tether with a counterweight, and then a tether on the opposite side with a hook. And you have the planet here. And what this does is this weight and hook are in constant rotation around the center piece. And then...
And it's right above the atmosphere. This whole
it depends on how long your tether is, but the main point is that this is in geosynchronous orbit around the planet. This has a constant speed that it's spinning at, and then a tether drops down into the atmosphere so that you would have to take a ship and match velocity with this hook that is spinning. I can't give you velocities because I don't remember from the video, and pair up with it, in which case it'll attach to the end of the tether, and it will pull you out of the atmosphere. Because currently, the amount of propulsion required to leave our atmosphere is extremely expensive, extremely dangerous, and you can't take very much weight with you.
Because it cuts down on thrust.
Yeah. This way, it's something like 20, it's only like 25% up into the atmosphere from the ground. So it's like really like 3/4 of the way from space down. It takes a fraction of the cost and the fuel to meet up with it. And the biggest thing he points out in this whole video, we have the existing technology. Like space elevators, we always talk about, we need some sort of
carbon nano
tubing, future science, future
tech.
We need, we got really excited about the carbon nanotubes and the graphene and all that stuff. But until we had some sort of a massive breakthrough, they're not viable. These currently are. Like, we could be building these. And he starts talking about how not only could you build one for us, but you can in turn build one on Mars. And Mars has a weaker atmosphere. So
it'd be even easier.
It would be even easier. And if you have incoming, outgoing traffic, because what will happen is as more and more ships use the Skyhook, you will lose momentum on the spin of the Skyhook.
Because you're stealing its energy.
Yeah. So, but if you have ships returning, in which case they're latching on and being slowed down, you just regain that momentum. And if any point you need a little extra adjustment stuff, you obviously can have small engines on the central mass to kind of correct.
Yeah.
But he starts breaking it down to like, you could then put them, when you're on Mars, you can go to the asteroid belt, and you go to the asteroid belt, you can put it on the asteroid, and then you can put them on the moons of Mars. Eventually, you could have almost propulsion-free travel across the entire solar system. Obviously, this is a scope of a project that we've never undertaken in the history of humankind, but starting with building one.
Well, I mean, that's really the next step in the human civilization development, is truly harnessing the power of our planet and then harnessing the power of our solar system, right?
What surprised me is that his videos are usually really pragmatic and really fatalist about the state of things. And the fact that he was portraying, or they were portraying this video as readily possible, like a project we should already be doing or working on right now, is like, shit, this is, I would imagine, and I hope I don't find out later that I'm incorrect, that it's a very viable project, and let's fucking get on building the Skyhook, man.
Let's just go back to space.
Oh my God. Let's go back to space.
Yeah.
Well, this would be the way to start doing it. Catch the Skyhook. They're talking about, like, you could even start thinking about luxury in your skyhook travel, because the system is so, like, we already have aircraft that can reach the speeds needed to connect to the skyhook. You're pretty much working on the logistics of, consistency and making sure, you don't want to have flights up to high atmosphere stuff and then miss the skyhook, because then you got to wait for it to come back around and all that jazz. But the fact that it could already be like, not only can we do this tech, but we can start thinking about how to make luxury trips to Mars using skyhook technology. I'm like, fuck.
I wanted to bring this up because it's related, just the idea of using mass and stealing the energy from a mass as a slingshot maneuver to gain speed. It's what we've been using for pretty much every major space launch we've done. You slingshot around massive objects to gain speed to go places. Astronomers just saw a star S5HVS1 venture too close to a supermassive black hole, and it got slingshot out of the Milky Way at 1,040 miles a second.
Like, it's a sun.
It's just an entire sun. It's just 1,000 miles a second. Just zoop. Now, like, you have the flat plane of the Milky Way, and then like an 85-degree angle is just a sun that just got spit out, and it's gone now, out into deep space forever, into the black.
Bye, Felicia.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Huh? Neat.
Pretty nuts.
Yes.
Neat.
They should make
and
that star
mind-boggling.
Yeah, I don't want to think too much.
Right? I mean,
space.
I love thinking about space.
So do I,
It's my
but it's
fucking
like
favorite.
I have to be in the right mindset, because, dear Lord, we are insignificant.
Yeah, I love that.
Little tiny meat blips on a giant rock, going really fast. Nothing.
I love trying to grok infinity.
Yeah, I'm not.
do you think
not
I'm
doing
in a
well
game
with
of
the
Roy
podcast.
right now?
Yes.
Oh
You're
my
losing,
God,
so
dude, I know.
I was
Like,
going to say you had a decent score, but
You got no chits left.
I got no chits
This is like
left.
a 0-ticket game, Josh.
Oh no.
I mean, what if that is the afterlife? We die and then someone's pulling a helmet off of our head,
Yeah,
or somebody else, and those memories slowly come back to us that we're not
right.
Russ
I
or
mean,
Josh or Nick.
From that perspective, I like Roy less. I like
Yeah.
the idea of playing Roy a little bit less.
my question would just be like, why was your scale so small? I'm one little taco human on a single.
It's been like, were you
shitty
playing on
planet.
fucking hard mode? What the shit,
Dude,
dude?
you're born white and American. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
It's-
get out of here.
Medium mode.
Fucking white bread mode,
yeah. Golden trail to the next quest mode, right?
Milk toast mode.
milk toast mode.
Milk toast mode.
So, like, would you like to try again as a black female?
Yeah, we can spawn you
but
as a.
I don't appreciate anything, so I mean, it's kind of lost on
Try
me.
again as a wasp.
as an anchovy, right?
You wake up, fuck you, fuck you.
Fuck, I want to murder everything.
Yep.
I can't wait to plant my babies in this other living creature
Yeah, right.
because I'm a wasp.
No, that's a game.
Going back to Rick and Morty, just this great episode for the beginning of season 4.
Yes. Watch the Kurzashot video.
Watch many of their videos, honestly. The egg is great. The Ant Wars is also awesome. Nuking a city. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. They are just good stuff. It's
Honestly,
good stuff.
fucking Cursed Sausage is one of my favorite channels.
Cursed sausage.
Kurga sausage.
Brought to you by George Lucas.
George Lucas's Kurt sauce.
I did go down the rabbit hole of Vsauce today, but not in an intellectual way.
For the audience, that is Kurzgesagt. It's a German word, I believe.
I'll throw a link in the show notes.
Every time I see Vsauce, I just think of Mike, because the guy reminds me of Mike.
Really?
Visually,
His name is Michael.
Oh, maybe it is Mike.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here. Are you dead?
I don't know. He's soft spoken, which Mike is usually
Yeah.
pretty soft spoken. They're both bald.
We haven't had Mike on the podcast.
No, I tried last week.
Yeah.
Mike is always at McGrath's.
Yep.
And when he's not at McGrath's, he's on the computer.
Yeah.
At McGrath's. He just takes his
Yeah.
computer to work.
Yeah.
No. I will be gone this next weekend.
Okay.
So you will need a fill-in.
We'll need 2 if we need Mike, or if we're going to get Mike.
What?
Yeah, Henselman can't do late nights anymore. He's got to start at like 6.
He's got he's got that new job over at the.
Yeah.
At the bakery.
Yeah.
We'll have to finagle that then.
We'll figure it out.
Well, I have free time.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're going to be stuck with me, listeners.
Oh, no.
I like it.
Yeah.
We hate having you on the podcast.
Why do we have you?
Yeah, get out.
Well, I mean, obviously you don't like nice things. That's why I'm here.
Explain to
Point
the
taken.
listeners what you have against brown people.
And well, I hope everybody enjoyed listening to the podcast tonight. That's where we're gonna. No.
No, yeah, I will be in Houston at the Texas, near Houston at the Texas
Right.
Renaissance Festival. It's gonna be fun.
Are you gonna have a problem?
Funny, Dad. No, it's actually in Todd Mission, a place called Todd Mission, Texas.
Todd
Wow.
Mission.
Yeah,
Okay.
Running out of ideas.
I don't even know if it's actually a town per se.
It's just a location.
It
They
might
have a
just
lot of
be-
bases out there.
dude. I don't know. It's not a. I don't know.
A lot of forts.
I don't
Is
know
it
anything about
mission's
this.
the name of like a church,
Mhm.
right? Like it's another
It's
kind
Todd's mission.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The Church of
Todd.
Dude,
Google
we need
it,
to
Todd
find a
Mission,
town that's
Texas.
called like Andy's Quest. Just get that going.
We need to form a town of our own called Andy's Quest.
You know, you can form
A township?
a township. Yeah,
It is a
relatively easily. I think it requires 500 people to acknowledge it as a township.
The population is 107.
People? Like, like that's it? 107? That's
They're
it?
just living things. It's
Yes.
mostly flies.
So they made a
That's-
town because there was a church
That's
there.
not a city, bro. Like,
It's a hamlet.
yeah. I'm pretty sure they just call that a trailer park.
It lies on Farm Road. It lies on Farm Road 1774.
They need 1,000 farm roads in Texas. Makes sense. This place is
Well,
massive.
Oh, we have that here in Oregon.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But it is home to the Texas Renaissance Festival.
Mm-hmm.
It's their one thing.
Yep.
Where the
Biggest
population
wine fair in the
swells
country.
from 170 to, oh, God.
107. Don't give them that credit.
They see, I think, between 40 and 50,000 people through each day on the
God.
weekend.
Yep,
You could
that's-
just take over that town.
They
Well,
do.
That's
I mean,
true.
They do.
The merchants alone could
Yeah.
take over.
I just
the
mean
town.
like Mad Max style. Like, who's going to stop you?
the knights.
The Texas Lone Ranger.
Fuck, I don't fuck with him.
Yeah, no.
Too
much.
All I gotta do is look behind me, and he's gonna be there. When you're in Texas, look behind you.
No.
Yeah, actually, people are moving away because in the last 10 years, it's dropped from 146 people to 107.
Because that Renaissance fair is so fucking
That's a
loud.
loss of like a third of their population.
Yeah.
Someone hates
That's messy.
Todd.
Fuck this place. Fuck
All
you,
the
Todd.
old people started dying.
So if you can
know?
form a township, can you like form a township anywhere?
Pretty
Or
much.
does it have to be like outside city limits?
So if this is like, so growing up in, let me do my compass here, eastern Washington, southeastern Washington, you run into this stuff all the time. I lived in Pomeroy, which population was small. It's less than 1,000 people there.
Yeah.
But you also have all these little tiny podunk areas that exist around you that are like, I mean, you half the time you don't even notice you're going through them.
Mhm.
Yeah, like unincorporated
Yeah.
is, I
They're-
believe, the
they're
term.
cities.
Yeah, but they're not actually part of the. I don't know. Like I heard this term unincorporated the other day
That's
on
like White
TYT.
City where it's
Yeah, they're a town, but they're not really. They don't have a mayor or a governing body or anything like that. It's just they're part of the county.
Yeah, there are a lot
And,
of Sunny Valley here in Oregon. That's unincorporated.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
isn't it like Rogue River and stuff like that? Not technically a city. I don't know. I don't know the fucking. I'm not.
The-
a
yeah.
city
It's all
scientist.
bullshit semantics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know that there's places around Pomeroy where I grew up that were, and a lot of times what happened is that they were like places that were being established a long time ago due to like mining or where I lived, it was because they were building the dams and stuff along the Snake River. And so a lot of these towns and stuff popped up to service these massive projects going on, building dams on the Snake River.
They're what amounts to boom towns.
Yeah,
then.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then, the fucking work gets done and the place slowly dies off.
So it sounds like an incorporated area, someplace like Medford, has their own local municipal
Governing
government.
body.
An unincorporated area is not covered by one of those and instead is covered by a larger umbrella division such as a borough or a county.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
Hey, I was right.
Ran by the county.
Bam.
Yeah.
Take that, poli-sci.
Garfield County is where I grew up. Pomeroy, Washington.
Did everybody hate Mondays?
No, it was named after the president.
Wow, okay.
Everybody hate bathtubs.
That's Taft, bro. Come on.
No, he's big and fat.
American
mustache.
history.
I feel like Garfield was the one who was president consecutively. Meaning he ran, somebody else served, and then he ran again.
Wasn't Garfield assassinated in 1882?
Maybe that's him. I don't know, dude. There's a lot of fucking presidents. There's like 45
I mean,
of them.
yeah, it's a lot.
49.
I'm trying to remember my
I'm
Jonathan
28.
Colton president song.
Yeah, it sounded like
Right.
that Colton song. Oh,
Man,
my.
Jonathan Colton really is also a treasure. I love the song Code Monkey. Came
Yeah.
weirdly on out of nowhere the other day on my Pandora's, and it's like, ooh, hey, look at that.
James Abram Garfield, assassinated in 1881.
Look at that.
Am I thinking of Grover Cleveland then?
I have recently
Probably
discovered
Cleveland.
Who, H-U. It's a Mongolian kind of classic metal band. It's amazing.
Lots
Yeah.
of throat singing.
Well, throat singing, leather jackets, Harleys, and classic metal style metal. It's an interesting combination.
I hate Harleys and everything about the Harley Davidson.
Culture.
I say Harleys as a non-car guy. They look like
Well, it's a motorcycle. So.
a motorcycle that wasn't a crotch rocket.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got crotch rockets and Harleys. Those are the two categories of
Yeah.
two-wheeled engine vehicles in my head.
You got street bikes, cruisers, and
Dreadnoughts, battleships,
Dreadnoughts.
destroyers.
street bikes, cruisers, and I always forget the third.
Low
Like
riders?
highway bikes or something? No, that's a cruiser, I guess, probably.
What would you call the seat low, handlebar high, loud and obnoxious?
Ape hangers.
Those are cruisers.
Okay.
Typically cruisers.
Okay. I have no idea if
That's
they're
the old
actually
handlebar is
Harleys.
ape hanger, though.
Ape hanger?
That is
Ape
what the
hanger.
large
Okay.
handlebars are called.
Gotcha.
Does it look like an ape? It's fucking stupid. It's literally they just do it because of the way it looks.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
it makes,
Can't
it
imagine
makes your
easy to
bike
control
worse.
Yeah.
with your handlebars.
What about those
above your head.
spoilers? Remember about all the giant spoilers on cars for a minute? All it like, it's not like it was
Downforce, bro.
effective.
I mean,
Also not
some
Yeah,
of them.
because that Honda Prelude needs that fucking downforce, man.
The big ones are wings.
Yeah, there's a very specific difference between what a spoiler is and what wings are and what air dams are.
Funny enough,
What
I
is
just
it?
so James May says that a wing you can put your head under. Otherwise, it's a spoiler.
So then there is no difference other than size.
Yes, there is no
They
difference.
serve
other
a
than
different
size.
function.
Isn't
on
it
the
all
field.
for
It's
downforce?
It's all for downforce, right?
but
Or-
they interact differently, I think, with how the downforce works. Like if you,
Oh.
this is unfortunate. It's been so long since I've looked this up because I
Mm-hmm.
felt like there was a short period of time where I educated myself and I could tell you very specifically the
Yeah.
difference. That time is gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I've been there.
all right,
I've been
fair.
there a
But
lot.
there is a common, I think it's spoiler. Like the calling something a spoiler is typically the incorrect nomenclature for the shit that we see on most people's
Bullshit
race
wagons.
burners and all
Gotcha.
that jazz. I think a lot of them end up. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it now because I don't know. But
I would love for the reason for them to be called spoilers is because they spoiled the look of a car.
there are some times that a subtle, we'll just call them spoiler, can look good on a car.
Dude,
That came across the mic, man.
yeah, man, that was a meaty fart you threw out.
Pardon me.
Transmission from the big head. I just dated myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bump, bump, bump,
Were
bump.
we talking about Third Rock from the Sun the other day? The
I
other day being
wasn't.
like this month? No, not you guys. I was
No.
talking with somebody about it.
We can talk about it. I like Third Rock from the Sun.
I do too.
I can't remember why it came up. It had something to do with the big head radio transmission guy and like his. I don't know. I have a terrible memory. I'm ruining this. Force me to bring up a subject I forget.
And on that note, I think we're done.
I'm ruining
wait,
this.
before I go, okay. Spoilers are barricades to undesirable flow, and wings are designed to directly deflect air upwards, thus pushing the rear of the vehicle down. So they both are there to reduce the uplift of the losing traction on your back tires when you're cornering and stuff at high speeds. But like I said, one of them is literally reshaping undesirable flows, and one's just adding additional down.
So they made a poorly designed back half of the car and they fix it with a spoiler.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, half of the reason you buy a car is for looks, not necessarily function.
Well,
it has to look good, otherwise you don't want it.
If I bought a car and only half the time it ran, I would be disappointed. 90% of the reason I buy a car is because it's a car.
Okay.
but when you have options of which cars to buy, looks become a more important.
Yeah.
We are
a more
assuming
substantial
that the
factor.
car is operable.
Mm-hmm.
That constitutes the purchase of that seems like a baseline requirement for the purchase of a car.
I still maintain that all the initial electric cars were intentionally designed ugly.
Yeah.
You can't explain to me why you would make a Prius look like a pinched turd
Yeah.
unless you didn't want to sell the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like obviously overwhelming public opinion about wanting electric cars won out over that. But those fuckers were like, let's not make it look cool.
Yeah,
People
let's
might
make
want
it look
one.
like dumb fish.
Yeah.
What Mega Block is to Legos, Priuses are to Mega Blocks. Right. It's that
Sure.
far down the fucking like.
It literally looks like it's a car that they pinched off out of the fucking butthole assembly line.
Yeah.
The Prius is ugly, but I appreciate the Prius.
I do too. I mean, they went to show that the public opinion wanted electric cars. They stood their ground and eventually, made it
Yeah.
to the point where we are now.
I found out recently that they had been engineering the Prius since like the early 1960s.
There could be something said about the way the public's mind works to where if they had made it look cool, they might not have thought. It's like cough medicine, right?
Mhm.
They have to make it taste bad, otherwise you don't think it's working. So they have to make the electric car look dumb. Otherwise you don't think it's an electric car.
Yeah,
maybe?
I
don't know.
guess.
Most
I don't know.
people are
Tesla's
really
turning
stupid.
that on its head.
Well, that's
Yeah.
and that's how I maintain. It's like if you make a cool looking car and it's electric, that's just win-win for everybody.
I still
Why
wish
would
they
you have
looked
done that?
meaner. Like throw on some Lambo grills on that shit.
My final question to the audience is: if they've been working on the Prius since the '60s, how did they end up with the word Prius after 50 years?
Is
I
it
don't
a
know.
word?
It's
Is Prius a word?
Could be.
Probably.
Well, I mean,
Well, I want to know.
I doubt it.
You don't think it's a word?
I think it's
Most
a
cars are
part
named
of
after
a word.
words.
Yeah.
Let's find out if Prius is a word.
Prius is a word.
You have to like Wiktionary that.
I'm just
But
going to go
anyways.
Prius.
Word.
Meaning.
Means it's a shitty Toyota electric
Prius
car.
is the Latin word meaning first, original, superior, or to go before.
Neat.
Priori.
Primary Prius.
Except it'd be pronounced
Plural.
It'd be pronounced Prius in
Prius.
Latin.
Well, they got plurals, including Prian, Prii, which is me trying to say Prii.
Pri.
Priori.
Priori.
Priori
Priam.
sounds correct, actually.
Priuses.
Yeah.
Priori.
They misspelled Plumbus.
Yeah, they really did.
When I
Toyota
have to pronounce
Plumbus.
Latin, I just think of Spanish, but weird, because it's pretty much what it is. It's weird Spanish.
And on that bombshell,
Educate your mind. Don't let the brain cells die. Come on, it's balcony time.